Isn't it amazing to have a smart IoT display assistant at home that shows the weather, time, or even control your smart home devices from one single place? Today in this video, we are going to discuss the algorithm that I used to build this weather station, which involved HTTP to Weather API communication, JSON format parsing, and DWIN display interface. I've also used the concept of FreeRTOS queue to let my FreeRTOS tasks communicate efficiently. This is actually nothing but a beginning for a big IoT project in the future. So without any further ado, let's jump on in. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. I've personally used their services to produce my own prototype for future IoT projects. Ordering your own PCB has never been easier before, with a lot of features like this castellated holes that I've used. Recently, they have upgraded their FR4TG standard to have even better quality with the same price. So order your own prototype from the link in the description below. Alright, so here's the display that was sent to me from DWIN. Let's remove this protector. Yes. Alright, so the display is 7-inch 480 pixels, as you can see. And it has T5L1 CPU, dual core under this metallic box. And it's connected over USB to my PC right now through this some sort of converter. And once it's connected, this demo starts running. So as you can see, it has touch screen and it responds quite good to me right now. So we can play with the brightness. Yes, currently the brightness is changing, but it doesn't appear that much on the camera. There's a limited number of AliExpress discount coupons regarding this display in the video description below. Yes. So here we can run some animations. Alright, so currently as you can see, the display is doing nothing but showing us some sort of demonstration. We need to implement a real-world application. So I'm going to connect this display to my development board, t-zigbee from LilyGo, and build a weather station. So my ESP32C3 is going to be connected over UART through these pins that I've soldered. And in order to send commands and interface with the whole screen. So now let me show you what I've implemented so far. Alright, so here's my setup. As you can see here, we have the DWIN 7-inch display. It's connected to ESP32C3 t-zigbee development board from LilyGo, which is connected over Wi-Fi to OpenWeather API and gets the weather-related information over HTTP GET requests every 1 minute and parse the JSON data. And after processing the important data, it's transmitted over UART to the display here in order to update the parameters that we are seeing right now. We have the time, the temperature, and we have here the weather description, the icon, and we have here the date. And let's check the information from my phone. So we have the degree, it's the same. The description is cloudy. And we have the time, same time. And the date, we can see it over here. It's the 17th of October. So the data is up to date. So now let's jump to our code and see how things are going on. Yeah, that's me. Let's go to the camera. So yeah, let's jump to the code and carry on from there. Let's first talk about the algorithm that we are going to implement in our code. So we have our ESP32C3 is connected to OpenWeather API through TCP socket, and the connection is going to be over Wi-Fi, of course. So every 1 minute, the MCU will send an HTTP GET request to the OpenWeather API, which will respond with a JSON file, which will contain nothing but the weather-related parameters. So after that, our MCU is going to parse this data, process it, and from DWIN display commands and send them over UART to the display so we can display the parameters that we have obtained on the 7-inch display. The whole system will be powered over a USB, so we have 5 volt that will be powering both the display and our MCU. Alright, so here's the firmware that's running on the ESP32C3. So let's start with the main function where the peripherals and the FreeRTOS tasks are created. So here we have the non-volatile memory is initialized. This is necessary at the beginning of every ESP32 firmware. And then we have the Wi-Fi initialization and the SID connect function where my Wi-Fi credentials are used. I have them in the private API header right over here. So let's have a look at what's inside this. These functions, I've actually used them right away from the Wi-Fi example, from esp-idf examples. This is supposed to be SID. Okay, right, so let's get back to our main. And after that, we have the UART configuration function. I've covered this part in the LA66 LoRaWAN tutorial, so you can have a look at it. But here I will be having a dedicated function for UART transmission, and I have it over here. It is actually nothing but a task waiting for the transmission queue to be filled. So once the data is obtained from the queue, which contains both the buffer of the UARTX and the amount of data to be transmitted, it's put in the UARTX FIFO to be transmitted after that. The TX functionality is necessary for us to let the MCU communicate with the display, DWIN display in our case. Alright, so this was the part regarding the low-level UART handling part. Let's get back to our main and see the tasks that we are using in our firmware. So first of all, here we can see the UART transmission task, the one that we have talked about earlier, and after that the HTTP GET task. Alright, so after that we see the HTTP GET task. This task will be called one time a minute, which is quite enough. The weather won't be changing that rapidly, and we don't live in a devastating world. So here we see that a queue is formed where the HTTP GET response will be stored. So I can parse it later on in another task. We'll get to that in a minute. So let's have a look at the HTTP client initiate. Here in the URL, I'm using the token generated by OpenWeather API. You will be having your own token. I won't be sharing my own one. So here I'm using HTTP GET method, and the handler will be executed once the HTTP GET response is received. And here is the execution of the HTTP GET request, and the client cleanup will disconnect the TCP socket once the HTTP GET response is received. Alright, so now let's have a look at the HTTP event handler, where we can have several events parsed. So let's start with the HTTP GET response. So the HTTP GET response is received within several events. So as this event occurs, the data received over the HTTP is accumulated in this buffer, and this is used for moving the cursor of the packet buffer. And when the disconnection is occurred, we know that the HTTP GET response packet has been received completely. So now we can place the data that we have accumulated before in this event in this queue, which will contain both the total size of the HTTP GET response and the data itself. And now let me show you the data that we are expecting from the OpenWeather API. Alright, so here we can see an example of the OpenWeather token. The whole packet will be received as a JSON file. So we will be parsing this file inside our code, and I will be using CJSON library. So the parameters that we can be using in our projects are the weather description, icon, temperature, maybe humidity, and here we have the date, which is the Unix timestamp, which need conversion so we can get useful parameters. So let's get back to our code right now. Okay, so here's the main. So after having the HTTP GET response, which contain the weather related parameters in the JSON format, so it's time to parse the data in this task. So here, as you can see, this task will be using the HTTP GET response in order to parse the important data obtained in the HTTP GET response. So this source will be using the CJSON library that's supported by the esp-idf. So let's get back and see the obtained data. Here we can see the date is obtained, and then it's converted to a meaningful data. And then we can see the temperature is also obtained, the weather description, weather icon, and at the end of the day everything is stored in the API weather queue, which will be used in order to form the packets used to communicate with the DWIN display. Alright, so now let's have a look at the part where these packets are formed. Everything is done in the peripheral handler task, which works only when the API weather queue is filled. So here you will notice that a packet of the DWIN display is formed, and then it's loaded to the UART transmission queue. So here we have the weather description string, and then the DWIN packet is formed, and then it's loaded to the transmission queue. So let's see how the DWIN packet is formed from this function. So the packet content will be as follows. The packet will start with the start bytes, the payload size. After that, we select if it's a write command or read command from the display, the target address, which text field we are going to modify. This is actually selected from the DGUS software. I'm going to cover that part in the upcoming video, so don't miss that out. And then here we have the data that we are transmitting. What this function is actually doing is that it takes the packet ID from the peripheral handler task and the data buffer and forms the corresponding DWIN display packet. So here we start with the start bytes, and then write command to display, and depending on the packet ID we form the rest of the packet. So here we calculate the packet payload from the received weather string, and then the address of the packet is loaded to the buffer, and the data that we are going to print on the display is loaded here. And at the end of the day, the packet prepared by this function is passed to the buffer passed to this function, and we can see the length of the packet is also returned. So from here, if we get back to the peripheral handler task, we see that after preparing the packet from this function, we pass it to the UART transmission queue, so it's transmitted later on when the MCU is available over UART. So now let's analyze the UART lines that connects our MCU and the DWIN display and see what's going on over there. Alright, so here we can see the UART lines, TX and RX, are connected to the logic analyzer. So let's zoom in and concentrate on one packet. So as you can see, every 1 second a packet is sent to the display from the ESP32C3. So if we zoom in, we can see first we have the start bytes 5A and A5 hex, and then we see the size of the packet 8. We can count from here. These are 8 bytes. And then this is the write command, write to display 82 hex, and then we have the address where we are writing to. It takes 2 bytes from the packet, and here we can see the characters that we are writing. So if we convert this to ASCII, we can see it's 23. Here we can see the hours, it's 11 right now, and here we can see the minutes, 58. And we can see that these 2 dots are toggled after every packet, so I can make the animation of seconds. So as we can see here, a space is passed, and after that we can see the 2 dots are sent again here. So this is how I'm making the seconds animation. So if you have a look at the display reception, we can see it's responding with OK packet, acknowledging the sent packet from the hosting MCU, which is ESP32C3 in our case. So after finishing everything, I've put the display and the MCU development board inside a 3D printed case, and here is how it looks. All the materials used in this tutorial regarding the code and the 3D printed case STL files are shared on my GitHub repository. This brings me to the end of this tutorial. If you have learned something new, please like the video, share it among your friends, and tell them about useful electronics. Stay tuned and bye bye.